we're going to make a dish that I've already made before. This is going to be a slightly different version of it. Well, I say version, slightly different way it's going to be made. It's a Japanese one, and we're making it because I want to actually use this in another dish that I'm going to make later, another Japanese dish. So I'm going to make some beef shigureni, I think it is, or reni, or renai. Okay, which, like I say, is something I made before. Essentially, all you really want is some beef, which we're going to cut up into thin slices. Okay, plenty of ginger. Okay, and then the only other ingredients in it will be some water, some sugar, some sake, mirin, and some soy sauce. And then we're just going to cook that together, and we'll be using some of that in a different dish, and whatever's left over will be like a little side. Okay, so beef shigureni. So I've started by peeling the ginger, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into some thin slices, and then I'm going to be cutting them into thin little strips. Okay. Now my bits of ginger, as typically is, was all a bit wonky, so it's quite difficult to actually get any real long bits of it, but if you can make some nice longish thin matchsticks, that would be ideal. Okay, and so you need to just complete all that. Now I should have said, by the way, that tonight, certainly to begin with, just imbibing in a nice G&T, which I know isn't necessarily Japanese, but there you go. And a little plug there for the Maidstone Gin Distillery. I'm drinking their George Bishop gin, okay, which is very nice. Okay, so a little plug for them. They do another rather nice, I think I've mentioned before, floral one, Ranscombe gin, made with locally sourced florals. But tonight, that's the George Bishop gin, their signature gin. So, oops, some big bits on there. So I'm just going to go on and I'm going to slice this up, and then when we've done that, we'll prepare the beef, and then we'll be ready to cook it. Now, this is a kind of dish that you perhaps would have warm with perhaps a little bit of rice, or you might have it as a little side dish. We're going to be using it mainly in a sort of cold dish, okay, but whatever's left over, we'll obviously be making sure we keep warm, and we'll be serving that as a little warm accompaniment. So I'm just going to get that ginger finished. So here's my meat. This is a steak, okay. It was the best sort of looking bit of beef I could get. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice it into thin slices. That's probably a bit thick, that one. Okay, now the word Shigureni, whatever you pronounce it, is actually made up of two words. Okay, two Japanese words, obviously. Shiguri or shigurei, not really sure how you pronounce it, and that actually means intermittent showers, like, you know, showers of rain. Ni or nai is beef, but the original Shigureni, still probably not saying that right, I'm just trimming off the little stringy bits because I don't like that, actually was made using clams. It came from a region of Japan that was obviously coastal, and clams were sort of like the order of the day, if you like. but it sort of then became a little bit sort of more beef, where beef was more readily available, and obviously not everybody likes clams. Whoops, cut that a bit thick. So that's the origin of the name. It's not actually considered a dish. Okay, you know, we talk about beef shigureni or just shigureni, but it's not actually a dish. It's more of a range of dishes, because obviously it doesn't necessarily have to be beef, unless you call it beef shigureni, right? So it's a range of dishes, and actually I've just realised I told you knee was beef, and that's wrong. Knee's not beef. Knee actually means braise, because you would be braising the meat, whether it be clams or beef or whatever. Okay, so it's actually beef shigureni, which means intermittent showers. In other words, like a quick stew of braised whatever. Okay, so that's my meat done. I'm just going to have a quick clean up and it'll wash up, and then we'll start preparing the sauce and start cooking it. So obviously for this part you need a pan to cook it in. Now it's quite easy. We've got 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of sugar. We want some sake. Guess how much? 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. We want some mirin. Guess how much? 2. See a bit of theme developing here? And then our final ingredient is we want some soy sauce. Guess how much? 1. Come here. 2. But actually it's 3. Ha ha ha. Cool, yeah. So 3 of that. So 2 of everything else, 3 of that. And what we're now going to do is just going to put that onto some heat. Okay. And then I'm going to put all that ginger into there, and we're now just going to put that onto a medium heat, and we're just going to cook it through until it's about to boil. All right, at which point we're going to turn the heat down and we'll add in the meat. So this has just come up to the boil, so I'm going to just turn that down. Okay, on my small ring, so it's gone out as usual. Okay, so I'll put that down on a bit lower, and then we're just going to add in that beef, and I'm just going to just stir that in, and we're just going to then cook that, giving it the odd stir, keeping an eye on it. We don't want it boiling dry, we want it to get rid of most of the liquid, okay, but we don't want to boil it dry. So about 10 minutes with a gentle stirring. So the sauce hasn't all completely gone, but it's reduced down significantly. So we're just going to tip this out into a bowl, get them lovely bits of ginger out, and then let's have a little taste. These Japanese have got chopsticks, which I can't ever use. So let's have a bit of beef. Let's see if we can have a bit with a little bit of ginger. Okay. Very gingery, but not overpoweringly, despite the amount of ginger now. Definitely got the sweetness from the mirin and sugar. Very nice. Don't know anymore. I made that for another recipe. So, there you go. Your beef Shigureni or something like that. So, we'll be enjoying that later. Like I say, it's part of a different dish, but you can have that on its own or have it with some rice. Entirely up to you.